From Sacred Heart University in Fairfield, Connecticut, this is The Pulse.
Hello, I'm Gina Tomasetti.
And I'm Patrick Dever. Thanks for joining us. Are you an active reader of Sacred Heart's print media? Have you ever heard of the Pioneer magazine? Although most students are not aware, each semester a new edition is released. Full disclosure, with the goal of promoting the magazine, Gina and I took the opportunity to explore what goes on into the process of the student-run publication.
Sacred Heart is home to many different news outlets in various forms, such as live television.
From Sacred Heart University in Fairfield, Connecticut, this is The Pulse.
And print. Many students are quick to recognize the Spectrum, the school's newspaper, but are surprised to find out there is an alternative print outlet, Pioneer Magazine. Pioneer Magazine has been published for 10 plus years, but has only gained minimal recognition from the student body. Like the Spectrum, it is primarily a class, but also functions as a club. It is a communications course that allows students to utilize editorial skills along with designing the entire magazine layout. What makes the Pioneer Magazine unique? There are no boundaries. Students have the ability to touch upon personal life experiences or celebrity drama. The magazine is composed by both students in the class and an advisor who serves as both the teacher and the director of the magazine.
The magazine runs as a class and a club. It's kind of a hybrid. So I'm basically the teacher of the class, the instructor, and the advisor. So I have to be able to show students how to use InDesign and create layouts for their articles, teach them about ways to write their articles, have an angle, really hone in on a focused topic. But also I have to make sure that I'm hands-off enough that the editor-in-chief and the associate editors can really just be free enough to explore their own ideas.
Along with the director, there is also an editor-in-chief whose role is to assist and oversee the production of the magazine over the span of a semester.
We just try to make it fun and lighthearted and just like useful towards like our community. We'll sit around and brainstorm like, oh, does this make sense? We decided to do an article on like what best frozen yogurts to get. Like, and it's just like things that you like kind of like, what are you talking about? Like, and they kind of like are fun. Like when a staff writer is really serious about writing the article, like they can come up with anything and it'll turn out to be like a really good piece.
Before you pack your bags for summer vacation, you could pick up your copy of Pioneer Magazine to read on the beach. This is Gina Tomasetti for The Pulse.
I remember how much fun it was writing 2 articles in last year's edition of the Pioneer Magazine.
Yeah, you know, I actually, just so happens, I have last year's edition, and I read both your articles, the Kanye West one and the relationship one.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah.
Thank you. It's been some time since the business giant General Electric relocated its headquarters from Fairfield, Connecticut to Boston, Massachusetts. After the move, Sacred Heart University purchased the GE building and renamed it West Campus. Ed Nasser takes us on a trip into what Sacred Heart has planned for the future.
Sacred Heart University's West Campus. What used to be former business giant General Electric's headquarters is now a 66-acre addition to the private education institution. On November 21, 2016, the school announced to the public that it had made an agreement to purchase the grounds while offering tours of the facility. Yet despite the official closing of the sale, the building was uninhabited by employees for quite some time. A year later, in November of 2017, departments such as Information Technology, Marketing and Business, and Graduate Admissions began to pack up their belongings from the main campus and move over to a new environment that would become their new home.
Moving over here from campus to a corporate building was a big change for us, but we've become much more comfortable and now we consider it our home.
In addition to staff, students have also migrated over from the main campus to use the facility. The West Campus now serves as a new home for other purposes, such as classes for the Isabel Farrington College of Education, as well as a new studio for the dance company, providing them their own spacious area for practice and rehearsals. Other services exist as well, such as a brand new employee wellness center called Shoe Fit that opened in January of 2018. The university supports the health and wellness of its employees, and staff members are taking advantage of the opportunity. There is also a parking garage for all university staff and students who no longer have to look for limited parking on main campus.
The gym is great. I work out 4 times a week. I get my exercise in, and I get to park my car where I work.
While many offices have moved over, there are still areas in the current building that remain unoccupied. In the near future, more offices and departments will be moving over, looking to benefit from the newly acquired space.
In the upcoming months, we are excited to be joined by more academic departments here. We'll also have our mail and duplicating center joining us here. So the university is growing, and we are proud to be part of its continued success.
With the Pulse, Edward Nasser, Sacred Heart University.
After the break, we'll learn more about how you can stay safe on campus in the midst of a crisis, and how one group continues the fight for statewide gun reform. Stay tuned.
On behalf of the Sacred Heart University community, it's my pleasure to welcome you here this evening for a celebration of the class of 2022. I hope that tonight is just a little bit more of a glimpse into why Sacred Heart is so special, why we have called it home for so many years, and why you can start calling it home as of May 1st this year.
Welcome back to Pulse Plus. Do you feel safe on campus? Do you know what to do in case of an emergency or an active shooter in the building? Natalie Trafari reports on what public safety is doing to make sure Sacred Heart is a protected campus.
Hi everyone, I'm here with Paul Healy. He's the Executive Director of Public Safety and Emergency Management here at Sacred Heart University, and we're here to talk about safety on campus in light of the recent shootings that have been happening around the United States. So, Paul, thank you for being here with us today.
It's my pleasure.
Absolutely.
My pleasure.
Now,
good to meet you.
You know, I guess the first question, the burning question is, what has Sacred Heart University done, or what have they been doing to make sure that our campus is safe?
It's all about communication, and some of the things that we've had since 2009, a silent witness program on the public safety website, which enables the entire university community to impart any type of suspicious activity 24/7 to us. Another advent of that is ShoeSafe app. The ShoeSafe app lets anyone that has that app present reports to us about suspicious activities, send public safety photographs or videos also. So when I say communication, every member of the university community shares a responsibility collectively to the community as a whole, to each other, students, faculty, and staff. So the more we know, then public safety can investigate and resolve, issues that are there. So, we seek to find information, resolve problems before something negative happens.
Absolutely. Now, I guess I don't know if your officers have had to go out through the training, but what is the protocol if, there was to be an intruder that had some kind of weapon to come here on campus?
And that's a good point, because Natalie, as you mentioned, some type of weapon. So, most of us are used to hearing active shooter, and we equate that, to a firearm. But what we've been teaching and what we've been pushing, out is an act of violence. So an act of violence could be any type of weapon, be it, something that's improvised or whatever that could do harm, to an individual. So the way we communicate is that if we get a report of something suspicious or something that's overt, someone is acted out in some particular way, depending upon the given situation, we use the Eas system, the emergency alert system. Everybody loves it when we cancel classes or we delay classes type of thing, but the important matter is that we would be able to have templates within that Blackboard Connect system. Public safety would send out a specific targeted message to the entire university community, letting them know succinctly what the issue is, where it is, and to stay clear of that area while the first responders are coming in to discern exactly what is happening and to alleviate that threat to the university community.
Absolutely. Now, have you ever thought about doing any type of, pretend protocol where, you know, God forbid something like this were to happen, and, you know, kind of like a warning to all Sacred Heart students and faculty?
Well, that's why we utilize the Eas system, and we, you know, send out a test, you know, system. We encourage everyone to make sure that their cell phone number is updated, that's within the system. And part of our protocol is that, you know, here, all our public safety officers are trained in FEMA, NIMS, and ICS. So that's a National Incident Management System and Incident Command System that's utilized. And also with our municipal police, fire, and EMS partners. So behind the scenes, each and every day, we have relationships, we have memorandums of understanding with our municipal emergency services partners on how to respond to campus. So we have a Fairfield police officer that's here on campus, and that person's assignment is to respond to an act of violence and an act of violence only. So, and part of that is familiarization. So we've had a program in place for some time now to get Fairfield police and other police officers where we have facilities to get very familiar with our campus infrastructure and facilities by name. So if we assign an officer and say there's a specific incident happening at, you know, one of the buildings at Christian Witness Commons, they'll know exactly where to go. So in an emergency, you don't want somebody trying to figure out where is that. You know, they need to go. The other thing that we do, we've given them access, card access, and keys, because we don't want anything to impede that tactical, you know, first responder getting to, you know, a scene. All the active shooter incidents, and there's been so many of them since 2000 that have happened, you know, have proven that it's the timeliness in terms of the response, every second counts, that can make a difference.
Absolutely. Well, Paul, I just want to say thank you again for coming in, and thank you for making our campus safe.
All right, Natalie, good to see you.
You too.
All right.
Back to you.
Yeah, so we've been students here for 5 years. I think it's safe to say that public safety really has improved tremendously.
Yeah, definitely with the new app, I think students are going to feel even safer now on campus.
Following the fatal massacre in Newtown, Connecticut in 2012, a statewide action group against gun violence formed to advocate for new and fair legislation to enhance gun safety. Christian Carter met with Jeremy Stein, the executive director of Connecticut Against Gun Violence.
Sandy Hook's shooting in 2012 led to major reform on gun legislation within the state. It started with the ban of high-capacity magazines and assault weapons, and strengthened background checks. But what else might need to be done?
Well, right now in the legislative session, we have two bills that we think are necessary for ensuring the safety of the people of Connecticut, and those are one to ban ghost guns, it's to regulate ghost guns and to ban bump stocks. So bump stocks, if you're not aware, that was the device that was used by the shooter in the Las Vegas shooting that was responsible for killing 58 people that were there just trying to have a good time and watch a concert, and the next thing you knew, someone had taken many semi-automatic weapons and had converted them into virtual automatic weapons, virtual machine guns, using a device called a bump stock. We feel that these things are not something that should be in the hands of civilians.
And tell me what is most important, or the most important legislation on gun control that still needs to be done in the state.
Well, like I said, the other bill would be ghost guns. You can go online right now and you can buy a kit that would allow you to buy a gun, a gun kit that would allow you to make your own gun, does not have registration, does not have a serial number, and you do not need a background check to buy one of these things. In fact, there's no age restriction in buying one of these kits. So we feel that this should be treated like any other firearm, that people shouldn't be allowed to just, without a permit or a license or with a felony conviction. If you have a felony conviction, right now you can go and buy one of these ghost gun kits and build your own guns.
You show on your website that homicides have gone down directly since 2013. What other factors contribute to this decrease?
And one of the things that we need to work on still is reducing suicides. Suicides amount to 2/3 of all gun deaths, and that is something that we really need to work on if we're really trying to reduce gun violence in the state of Connecticut.
There's a national debate going about teachers being armed in the classroom. What's your position on that?
Arming teachers is a horrible idea. Teachers have enough to deal with right now. They don't need to deal with the responsibility, and there is a very big responsibility that goes along with carrying a firearm. They don't need the additional responsibility of carrying a firearm. There are no studies that have shown that arming teachers are going to make anyone safer. In fact, quite the opposite. What studies have shown is that the more guns you have, the more lax your gun laws are. More guns equals more gun deaths. We are not opposed to having additional professional people in the schools, such as the police, who are trained to defend themselves should an armed intruder enter the school. So if we want to add additional security, and not a security guard and not an armed teacher, but law enforcement that are specifically trained for that kind of situation, then we have no problems with that.
And is there anything else that you'd like to comment on that I haven't asked you already?
Connecticut has been a leader in gun violence prevention in this country, and I think one of the things that we can do better in the state of Connecticut, in addition to banning bump stocks and regulating ghost guns, is safer storage laws. You know, you keep hearing stories of shooters over and over, young kids getting access to their parents' guns. And in Connecticut, we need a better, safer storage law. We need to make sure that when people do not have guns on them, that they are properly locked up, that the ammunition is properly locked up, so that people who shouldn't have guns, whether it's too young or people with mental health problems or people with criminal convictions, aren't getting access to these guns so easily.
This is definitely one of the biggest issues in the news today.
Absolutely. Just the fact that anybody can buy pieces to a gun and assemble a gun, that's a pretty terrifying thought.
Yeah,
wouldn't
it
you
is.
say?
After the break, we'll learn how one man overcomes his disability and a unique place to buy books other than Barnes & Noble. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Pulse Plus. To be born with a disability sometimes requires overcoming much in life. Hassan Hoke was one of these people. He took the hardship of his childhood and turned it into a positive light that led him and others to a better life. Here is Salam Kamsiye with the story.
He comes from one of the poorest countries in the world, Bangladesh, where healthcare isn't easily found. Yet he managed to overcome a serious disability.
Hi, Salam.
Ehsan Hoke, as an infant, was diagnosed with severe sight problems and was told he wouldn't have a normal life. As a man, though, he got a postdoctorate degree and established an organization that helps poor and disabled children. He indeed didn't have a normal life.
I graduated from medical school in 1987, and I started my career as a pediatrician in a children's hospital. But what happened in the children's hospital, I realized that I don't want to be a children's doctor. I don't have that passion to become a big children specialist or doctor. So rather I want to work for the women, work for the children, and I want to go rural areas, and I want to work for the mass people.
This was the start of Hoke's vision. He wanted to change as many lives as possible by providing children with education, better health care, and a better life than the one he had, and thus a better future.
My life was not easy. I had to face so much discrimination, so much painful situation. As soon as I start to school, some of my classmates every day take up my glass and say how many fingers, and all these bullyings and all this torture was very painful. I did not like, but I did not have any choice to protest that. But I gradually developed an empathy to help others. So at early age, I got motivated, I became volunteer. I started to go to rural areas, start to motivate young mothers, young women, showing my glass, and I told them that, look, this is my problem because my mother did not eat vitamin or did not eat green vegetable during her pregnancy.
In 2003, Hoke established the Distressed Children and Infants International Organization, DCI, which has developed multiple programs since then, such as child sponsorship, blindness prevention, orphan support, youth leadership, and others. It has also spread to different countries where children struggle. DCI operates in Bangladesh, Nepal, Nicaragua, and India, as well as the United States.
The unique point of our organization is we motivate American children so that they take the leadership, they help children in other countries. American children through our program start to learn how to appreciate their own life, how to do something for other children in other countries. So most importantly, these American children learn how to make commitment.
DCI sponsors more than 1,000 children and makes sure they are fully engaged with society.
We try to include them in the normal society so that they get the opportunity as like other kids to grow and avoid their disability like me. I born with disability and I was very upset when I was young, but I overcome that. And now what I feel that when I have pain in my eyes, I think I am fortunate that I have a doctor, I can go to a doctor, but many people in the world cannot go to a doctor because they don't have the opportunity.
Hoke's energy, hard work, generosity, and positive attitude are leading his organization to more growth.
Someday we will be a very big international organization. We will have our presence in almost all countries in the world to help children anywhere in the world who need our support.
This is Salam Kumsiya for The Pulse.
Connecticut is home to many used bookshops, but one in particular stands out for its unique setting and charm. Joelle Schrock spent some time at the Book Barn in Niantic, Connecticut.
Reading is breathing for me. I can't imagine not reading books. I've always been a reader. My mother always took me to the library and bought books when we could. Originally I thought about opening a new bookstore. I didn't know much about used books. I worked part-time in a new bookstore to kind of learn the business. We started in 1988, and back in the 80s the big chains were really taking over and making it hard for the independents, and plus we had no money at all, so it was a little tough to start that way. So the woman who happened to own this property came into the store one day. We talked about renting it, and then I took the basement, which was about 1,000 square feet with 4 light bulbs and a cement floor, and we just kind of started from that. That's why our t-shirt says all started with a couch and 3 bookcases. And after about 4 years, the people who had owned the property moved. She had an antique store. She moved out of upstairs, so we took the upstairs first, and then I think about 3 months later we rented the house, moved into the thing, and once that was filled up, we started with the annex. Then we went to the haunted, then we added some buildings, and then the town came along and told me not to add any more buildings. And that's when we started with downtown, filled that up, and it just kind of grew from there. When we started downtown Niantic, the Friendlies had just moved out, and the movie theater house were down. It was quiet there at night. It was just dead quiet. And then little by little, people start seeing what's happening and moving in. And now Niantic really has kind of turned around. It's really become a kind of a hip place, and we're really pleased with that. You know, we're glad to be part of it. Probably about 2001. That's when we started downtown, but it's probably been the last 10 years that's really started to take off. We've done well, but we knew we also had to get large enough so people will drive from 2 hours from New York to come out. You got to give people a reason to come out. So we always wanted to get, the store get larger as we go along, and now it's to the point when we buy 10,000 books a week, there's just never enough space. People show up during the day from 11 to 6, bring their books up to the table, we pull out what we're interested in, offer them credit for that, and then send them back with what's left, because we can't keep everything. There's just no way we can keep everything. We go out and look at books also. Like this evening I'm going to Middletown and buying a house full of books. Next week I think we have 2 different house runs. We'll take trucks to pick up several houses of books. So right now I think there's 13 cats on the property. Some of them are in the house, which may never come out. Some are in the backyard, and there's about 5 that travel around here. But it's one of the most popular things. We have a cat guide, and the kids love the cat guide. It really seems to work. Social media is just, it's mind-boggling how good it is. It really is. We get a good load of books in, we'll put it online, and within seconds we're getting responses back. You know, is this book here, or when can I come in and see it? It's kind of scary how good social media is. I'm going to be here a long time. This is what I do. I work about 6.5 days a week, but I also live right here, and the people that work for me are my friends, and you know, we have a good time. We work hard, but we have a good time. We have 23 or 24 employees in the summer, probably cuts back a little bit in the winter. With that many books coming in, somebody has to put them away. Plus with 4 stores and open 9 to 9, there's a lot of hours to cover. This is not a job, it's a lifestyle type of thing. You have to look at any kind of book business, it'll always be that way. This will always be the home base. This is where we started, this is where we live. This is like sacred soil to us. So we want people to read, we want to get the word out there. We need to have an educated reading public, and reading is important. It's important.
That place is really cool. I want to go there right now.
Yeah, we should totally take a trip sometime.
Yeah.
That's all the news we have for now. I'm Gina Tomasetti.
And I'm Pat Dever. We'll see you next time on Pulse Plus.